Well, it's about that time that I have alarm bells going. I do say I have alarm bells going off in my head quite a bit over here on YouTube. I guess I do just have a lot of alarm bells because alarms keep you on track, and keeping me on track is kind of my goal. So guess what? Alarm bells going off. It's time to plan for the holidays. Well, hey, and welcome back to the Commonplace. My name is Autumn, and if you were thinking, oh, it's a gift guide, oh, it's how to buy stuff, no, that's not what we're doing here. I like to talk about educational philosophy, particularly classical educational philosophy, and I like to apply it into the particulars or commonplaces of our lives. And so that's what we're going to talk about today. I'm actually going to talk about how I plan for the liturgical year ahead. Now, liturgical year is not just Advent or Christmas or Christmastide, Epiphany if you're in the West, or Nativity into Theophany if you're in the East. It's a lot more than that. It's the entire year. It's the church in her wisdom has given us a way to walk out Christ's life and life in Christ throughout the year with seasons of fasting and feasting, in the West, ordinary time as well. And so I'm going to try and explain a little bit about how I prep and plan for what we would call Advent in the West and Christmastide, because for any tradition, I feel like this is the one that a lot of people are interested in starting. If you have never thought about liturgy, I will tell you I use 3 different phrases. I actually have a guide called Liturgia in the Commonplace world. It's over in the shop, or you can actually just get all the guides if you join Common House and all the other resources too. So it's definitely the better way to go. But for this, I use 3 different phrases for liturgy. So liturgy is just a repeated action. It's something that we do as the work of people, and we people are always doing things in a repetitive way that form habits and form inclinations and tastes for certain things, and it moves us in a particular direction. That's how I just use a little liturgy. Then there's theological liturgy, and this would be something like the church calendar, church practices, whether that be fasting, certain prayers, certain bodily movements, certain ways of playing with the senses, things like that. And then there's commonplace liturgy, and that's sort of my Charlotte Mason spin on things, where I talk about how to use your atmosphere, discipline, and life, your 3 instruments of education, to bring these repeated actions into your home, into your everyday, so that then they do turn you towards ultimately Christ and towards that good life, or that just path of life in Him. And so there are a bunch of different angles here that if you are not in a tradition where you practice any sort of liturgy, you should still feel very welcome. If you are in maybe a high church tradition where you have a lot of liturgy, it should make sense to you. But ultimately my goal is to help mothers think about how to use the 5 senses and their 3 instruments of education to bring what are eternal and immaterial things into the material reality before their kids, so that hopefully we shape their affections, we shape their loyalty, and we shape their minds and their hearts and their taste towards what is good, true, and beautiful. That's kind of the thing I'm hoping to do today. But yes, it is now November, so actually you're behind. Technically, I'm just behind with this video. I start these things in October. So I'm hoping that what we can do is go back just a couple of weeks, but you're actually not too far behind to catch up. And I'm going to explain what alarms I do literally have set on my calendar, and then what practices or things they relate to, and what to-dos they give me. You don't have to do things like me though. That's the first thing I have to say. You do not have to do the same exact things that I do, but you will hear certain principles and threads between them that are either historic practices or general common, this would be good with kids, or hey, those are really current ways of doing things. And hopefully you can pick between them. I actually have a video from a couple of years ago called Why It Matters What You Do With Your Kids for Christmas, because I do know that it is like a no to tell moms they need to do a little bit more or work a little bit harder, particularly during times of year where moms have a lot of to-dos like they do during Christmas time. But I will maybe add an angle to the conversation that it's really important that you do things during this season. Why? Well, because in the West, we have a tendency to be very rationally oriented and head focused, and so you will hear repeated over and over again this time of year that it does not matter that you make your Christmas magical or that you do all these fun things with your kids. What matters is they know that it's about Jesus, and they know what happened in the incarnation, which is true. They should know these things. They are wildly wonderful things, but that only uses one part of the human, and the human is, we're body and soul indivisibly. We have multiple parts to us. We are not just thinking things, we are loving things. We are feeling things, tasting things, smelling things, hearing things. We are embodied. And so it really does matter what you do. So that video is there. We can get into it. I talk about how Christians ought to show their kids what it's like to celebrate a king, what it's like to wait in hopeful expectation, that we have to practice these things. And the church, again, in her wisdom, gives us time to do that so that then we're able to form these muscles that we need for spiritual growth and then life in Christ. So I think those are all my disclaimers. You don't have to do it like me, but you should consider what I'm saying. So in October, my first alarm bell goes off. And the reason why, unfortunately, and I'll just say it right here, is because the consumer cycle starts early. If you are someone like me who thinks that matching Christmas pajamas is the cutest thing ever, they're gonna be sold out by the second week in November. I don't know why. Why are they all out in October? But they just are. And so that is my first bell to go off, is that I need to remember the things that I do want to celebrate with my kids. I'm gonna have to plan a little bit earlier. Now, it's not just what am I going to buy. In fact, here's a good time to say that the main things you are doing during these seasons are attending church, praying, and giving, whether that be of your money, your finances, or also your time, your service, your gifts to other people. That's what we should be doing during this season, and as we look forward to the coming of Christ and then the celebration of him through towards his baptism, which would be the theophany part of the year. So when my alarm goes off in October, it is an alarm that is set for the year. It goes off like annually. It's a yearly alarm. And that is my first tip to you, is that as you are planning out, maybe this is your first time or not, but as you are planning, you make these alarm alerts and you set them and you make them repeat. And therefore you do not have to remember to make the alarm again. And when that goes off on my calendar, when it says like begin St. Nicholas prep, which is the first thing that goes off because St. Nicholas is very early in the December liturgical season, in that box, I will have put the things I need to know. So I brought up Christmas jams because that is something that we gift in the boots on St. Nicholas Day. So I know that I need to make sure I have oranges of some sort or clementines. We always gift them a book. We put their pajamas in their socks, and of course we do chocolate gold coins. Now, this is a good time to remember that there are capital T traditions, which are the things I just mentioned, the church, the prayer, and then there are little t traditions that are fun. And these are the things that can be really great to do if it interests you, if it interests your kids, your personalities, or you don't have to do them. It's okay, don't feel beholden to these. So things like chocolate gold coins, you don't have to do that. If your children like the story, they can. Now, another thing that we do is we kern secretly, as St. Nicholas gave in secret, we deliver St. Nicholas Day boxes. We leave them on people's porches, we run around in our Christmas jammies. It's a whole hoot and holler thing. It's super fun. That's a very kern way to live out this embodied idea, because we want to give in secret. We want to bless others during this season. We're not just thinking about us. And so I know I need to make sure that we have all the trappings and the boxes and the things we're going to do for this year. So that alert goes off. It's also the alert that says put calendar on calendar, because there's so much. It fills up so quickly during this time of year. So when I sit down to plan liturgically, and this is any season, but particularly a very busy one like this, I sit down first with the church calendar, and I go ahead and I put down every feast day. I put down any special service I want to be at. I put down the beginning of the fast, the end of the fast. I put down Christmas Eve, Christmas Day. I know there's daily liturgy, so I have that all in there. Events at the church come next. So if it's something for the kids where they're doing a service night, or there's something for the girls at church where they're doing a special thing, it's on the calendar first, because very quickly you will get invitations to other events that are for Christmas. And I will put a pin in here that Christmas does not start until December 25th, and then it goes for 12 days. So it's very hard when you're planning the world, because everything happens like December 6th, December 12th. Then there's Christmas and everything's done, right? We're done because we've kind of been gluttons. We've been going since before Thanksgiving. But as much as you can pause and wait and you can plan all those fun things for after Christmas, that's a good way to do that, I think, because then you actually cultivate the anticipation. If it just kind of comes, there's no anticipation, right? So the calendar is my big thing. I start there, and I start with church, and then I move into church adjacent activities, and then I move into social activities. Trying to spread things out, trying to think intentionally. The weeks leading up to Christmas are anticipation. It's quiet. You're reflecting, you're thinking about the longing for Christ. The light is slowly growing dimmer, right? And then the 21st happens, you have the solstice. The light starts to grow from there. Christ, we celebrate on the 25th, and then we have that 12 days in which we celebrate all out, huge feast, right? But that calendar alert kicks off a bunch of calendar alerts, and they are all related to that calendar of what feast day is coming up, what do I need for that feast day, how do we like to celebrate it, how have we celebrated in the past, what was the cookie recipe I liked for that, what was the bread recipe I liked for that. I just tuck these things in those notes on my calendar, so when they come up, it's all right there. I'm not trying to keep track of it. And I think sometimes that is the most helpful thing that future you can thank you for just being organized and setting it to run on its own. I do have in Common House actually an interview with Emily Thomas. She was on the podcast, so maybe you'll remember her. But we talked about something she created called a liturgy binder, and it was a physical form of that, where she would just put things in, prayers, recipes, plans, activities they did, and she kept an entire binder. Another way you could organize yourself. So that's really helpful too. Now, once I kind of have gone through the calendar, I think you kind of get the point, looking at your church stuff, seeing what's available to you and going from there. Then I turn it back to, what do I need to bring into my home? So I know what Advent readings we do. I know what kind of Advent calendar we use. I know what kind of candles we're going to use. These are things we've been doing for a very long time now. So it's very natural. If you're new to this and you're thinking, whoa, this is a lot, which can feel like that at every bit of liturgical change, and also there's always someone wanting to sell you something for the liturgical season, just know you start very simply and you grow into the practices. So you start with just the candles, just do that one year, and start with just reading your Bible through like the Jesse reading plan, which is a free plan you can find online. Just read certain verses on certain days, something like that, and just start there. Then you can keep adding. You can start baking on this day, or you can do delivery boxes, or you can have a time where you go sing carols or hymns or whatever. And so I will then think, okay, I need to make sure I have all my materials. Do I know where my book is for our readings? Do I have the right colored candles? Do I have the right number of candles? Because nothing is worse, like I said in my last video, than getting through Thanksgiving and everyone's kind of feeling the Christmas spirit on the way home, and you're like, I don't have red and purple candles and I need them for our candle wreath when we get home. It's just good to do them in late October, early November, and then you're good to go. If you need anything new, if you do something like St. Lucia Day, which is both liturgical and cultural, if your eldest daughter dresses up and you're thinking, oh, she doesn't really have a white dress that fits or a red sash, I need to make sure. These are the times to check those things. This is the stuff that comes into your home. This is how you choose to do that. And this is a good point to say, think about the 5 senses. So when we go back to that Commonplace liturgy, one thing that I think about is the 5 senses throughout the entire season. What can I change so that when my children encounter it, they're like, oh yes, it's time for the nativity. That's what's happening. So literally go through your 5 senses. Sight. I love to play with candlelight. It is a huge thing for me. In Advent, I like to try, it doesn't work every night, but try once the sun goes down, we don't turn on any lights. The point is that the world is dark. We are longing for the light of God. We want Christ. We want the incarnation. So as much as I can make it dark, I'm just working with candlelight, which is super fun to take your tubby or brush your teeth by candlelight. I will say, kids love it. I love it too, actually, it's really nice. And so as much as you can play with light, I do that. I change the colors of things around the house. Now, I'm not some big decorator person. I don't have tons of tubs for everything, but I just know I'm gonna use these color candles for this time of liturgical season. The church gives us colors for each season. If you can match the colors in your house, whether it be your candles or your floral arrangements or your napkins, something like that, to match the colors they see at church, if your church changes colors with the seasons as well, so that they see the priest's vestments, if it matches the flowers that change around the pulpit for your church, whatever it is, that helps them tie together. The things that happen at church are the things that happen at home. There's not a secular sacred divide. The things we do with our materials matter. And that's actually one of the things I really care about, particularly this time of year. Christ took on the material when he became flesh and blood, right? Like the material matters, and we can use the material things in our surroundings to help point to the immaterial things, which of course is what we're trying to do through these liturgical seasons. And so I will think about that. I will think about what they hear. If you're in Common House, you know I make playlists, and I do not let my kids deviate from these. We do not play fun Christmas music during the build-up during the day. So I have a very liturgical playlist that I will play all day. They're all songs that fit the Advent theme. There's actually this Catholic sibling group called Harpa Dei. They sing the O antiphons. It is probably one of my favorite collections of music, all of them, and I do not let myself listen to them or my family listen to them until it is the Nativity Fast or until it is Advent. I'm just going to say Advent from now on. If you're Western, that will make more sense. And so Advent, right? It's all I ever listen to. I hear them start and I just have the chills. I'm like, yes, it's Advent, like it's time. And it's because I only allow us to listen to that music during this season, right? Same thing with the foods you eat. Maybe you have a fasting menu that you eat for preparation as you go towards Christmas. And then you have your feastal foods, your family's favorite feastal foods, the best cookies or the cookies that go with St. Nicholas Day. They're delicious. I only make them for St. Nicholas Day, because that way they're tied to the day. You long for them. They take you to a certain time and place when you get to have them. These things are really important and really powerful in shaping our children's understanding of reality and also the things they love in the world. Then of course, think about the things that they smell, the smells out of your kitchen, the If you bring in greenery into your house, if you have pine, things like that, those smells are going to bring about memories and also form attachments to things. You can form your children's tastes and attachments to things. You are not victim to whatever childlike thing, and childlike's a good thing. I would say childish, as in like immature, twaddly. You're not victim to that. They don't have to love these things. You can teach them to love better things, and you can use this time to do that. So I will go through each of those 5 senses, and try to think, how do I engage these? How do I play with these during Advent when we're longing, and during Christmas when we're celebrating? And then of course I do this during Lent, during Easter, as the year continues. Okay, so it's me again. I am going to briefly run through atmosphere, discipline, and life, because unfortunately when I was editing this video, I realized that my baby was getting a little bit too loud in the background. My husband was in the process of doing the bum pat to get her to fall asleep, but she prefers me to all other humans because we're besties. And so if she was getting too loud, I didn't think through the doors it was actually that loud while I was filming. I knew she was obviously fine with her father, but then when I was editing, it was too much. So rather than trying to splice that video and have it still make sense without the extra noise, I decided just to really quickly run through here without the better light, because we're getting to the end of my workday, but that's okay. So for atmosphere, discipline, life, these are our instruments of education that Charlotte Mason gives us. We know these. Our atmosphere, we're thinking about right relationship. That's the key phrase there. Right relationship to God, to others, to things, ideas, and right relationship with one another. So when I think about the liturgical seasons, I know that I'm going to be telling my children, hey, we're going to be church a lot. That's what we're going to be doing, because that is the focus of this time period. We are going to then be thinking about how we serve other people. Again, the focus. How we practice waiting, while honestly the rest of the world doesn't. We go from holiday to holiday to holiday during this time of year, and we are going to pause and say, no, not yet. And for a good reason. As we say no, not yet, and we practice self-control, whether through prayer or fasting, we are strengthening the muscles that allow us to say no to sin. So we're going to be working in this direction while it seems like everyone else is just having fun. And you need to understand why we're doing that, so that you can fully enter in as you're able as a child, and we can do it as a family together, and every year hopefully deepen our own practices with this, strengthen our own muscles with this. And so to that end, I also literally ask, what do I want the atmosphere of my home to be like? Is it like Target? I'm going to walk in on November 30th and it's Christmas. It's Christmas everywhere, the fullness of Christmas all at once. No, I'm gonna do what we call the slow build. This was the kind of compromise my husband and I made a couple years ago when I started thinking about these things, wanting to form these muscles, and I was like, we are not decorating till Christmas Eve. And he was like, no, that's not happening, Scrooge. And so we found this middle ground where we do the slow build. We start, we cut down our Christmas tree with our whole extended family. It's a thing, it's always on the calendar when it is. So we bring it home and it stands there. And it's waiting. The tree is waiting to become a Christmas tree. At the time it comes in our house, for a couple of weeks, it's just a beautiful tree. We bring greenery in. We go and collect it. We go and buy some of it. We start hanging it up. Then we start adding the oranges. We start making our popcorn and our cranberries. And then we start building out our Lego village that we have to rebuild every year. And so it takes us longer and longer to do. We spend our nights doing that together. We start adding different velvet bows, and we add more candles and things like that. And then of course we bring out our ornaments. The hot chocolate starts coming. And it's a slow build into Christmas. The anticipation is growing, the excitement is growing, the longing for the fullness of it is growing, but it's not there yet. So that's one way we do that in our atmosphere. Then of course we think about our discipline or our habits. What are the habits that we need to cultivate in order to enter the season well? Well, depending on you and your children, it might be the habit of prayer. It might be the habit of attention in church. It might be the habit of learning how to sit still, or how to get up early to make it to something when you'd rather be warm and cozy in your bed and instead you are walking to church. It might be spending your time thinking about the list of gifts you would like to make for all of those that you love, rather than what list you might make for yourself. There are a lot of really great habits: how to serve people, how to give up your time, how to let your house be a mess so that you can bless children who come into it. Whatever it is, think about those habits. And then of course life or ideas will be the last one. Pull out the picture books. I go and find all of the Advent, waiting, Christmassy type books, make a stack, they're in a basket, easily able to be grabbed by anyone at any point, any time. We change up our read alouds. We're going to change up the music coming into the home. Of course, the church services offer certain ideas and certain parts of scripture for us to meditate on, to contemplate. And then we also really spend a lot of time thinking about Bookmas, which I have a video about as well. And that's how we celebrate the 12 days of Christmas. We do not do like a bunch of gifts every day, but we do a book gift every day for the 12 days of Christmas. And that's how we kind of continue our feastal celebrations. And so those are just some ways that I use, again, Mason's framework to think about how to bring these beautiful ideas down into our home where we can embody them and practice them, so hopefully they become us. The beauty in the idea shapes who we are, and hopefully we become the beautiful thing. So with that, I think I'm gonna be able to jump to my outro, but if we still hear the lady baby, I will just keep repeating, because this is the internet, that she was being snuggled to sleep by her father. She was fine. We were all fine. Everyone was fine. It's just learning the new work day. Otherwise, I will see you next time, as we have 2 fun things coming. One is about Soulcraft Fridays, a new thing I'm doing in school this year. And number 2 is going to be Mother Academia 2026. So more on that very shortly. I'll see you then.